We didn't stop worshiping. We just changed what we worship. Before you even checked your phone this morning, actually, let's be honest, you probably checked it even before watching this. You didn't get on your knees first. You didn't light a candle. You didn't say anything out loud. But within what, 5 minutes of waking up, most of us are already reaching for this glowing rectangle before we even talk to another human being. Honestly, some mornings before I even talk to God. Now, I'm not bringing this up to make you feel like garbage about it. I do the exact same thing. I'm bringing it up because I think it says something that we don't really want to look at directly. We didn't stop worshiping. We just changed what we worship. Alright, so here's what I actually want to get into. And no, it's not a get off your phone and go to church video. I promise. It's actually a little more uncomfortable than that. At least, it was for me. I don't really think people are capable of just not worshiping something. I don't think neutral is a setting that we have. And when someone walks away from God, most of the times it's not this big dramatic walk away moment. It's just quietly drifting, missing a Sunday, then another one. Then all of a sudden it's been a year. And they don't end up just worshiping nothing. See, the devotion has to go somewhere. It just finds a new place to land. So I want to walk through what that actually looks like in normal, boring, everyday life. And then, and this is the part I keep having to do myself, so fair warning, I want us all to actually ask what we're pointing that devotion at right now. But first, real quick, we should probably agree on what worship even means. Because I think we've shrunk the word down too much. We hear it and we picture a church service, hands up, worship band. See, that's a version of it. That's not the definition though. Worship, I think at a basic level, is just whatever you build your life around. Whatever gets your best hours and your first thoughts. Whatever you run to when things hurt. And that thing, whatever it is, if you lost it, you would feel like you lost a part of yourself. If that's the actual definition, then worship isn't just a church word anymore. It becomes a human word. Everybody's worshiping something constantly all day. The question is, do we know what that thing is? You don't get to opt out. You only get to choose where it goes. So where's it actually going for most of us? Take the gym. And look, I love training, okay? Discipline's important, your body matters. I'm not trying to talk anyone out of it. But listen to how some guys talk about it and tell me it doesn't sound religious. There's a right way to eat, there's a wrong way to eat, there's rules you don't break. If you miss a day, there's this actual guilt that shows up. Like real guilt. The kind of guilt that used to be reserved for things that mattered morally. There's people they follow online whose words they take more seriously than they've ever taken a sermon. And underneath all of it, there's still this quiet promise that's just sitting there. If I just get disciplined enough, if I sacrifice enough, I'll become the guy that's actually worth something. That's not a workout routine anymore. I mean, it kind of is, but it's also a belief system that happens to come with a body attached. Or your phone. And again, I'm not trying to shame anyone here. I'm looking at myself when I say this. You check it because some part of you is hoping that there's something there. A text, a like, a number that went up. And when there's nothing, something in you deflates a little bit. See, that's not neutral. That's called devotion. You handed something authority over your mood without ever signing up for it. Or, this one got me. How much of your identity is just quietly tied to how much you're achieving? What you're earning, how you stack up against the guy that graduated with you who's doing better. If someone stopped you and asked you who you are, would the honest answer be something about your character? Or would it kind of sneak over to how much you're doing without you even meaning it to? See, none of these things are evil by themselves. In fact, I think that's why they're so easy to miss. A gym's not a false god, a phone's not a false god. But what you're pointing at it can be. And I think most of us are giving these ordinary things the same devotion that used to only make sense being pointed at God. And we never actually decided consciously to do that. It just sort of happened. You didn't choose your God. You just stopped paying attention long enough for one to move in. Here's the part that actually took me a while to sit with, and I'm actually still figuring out how to sit with it. See, these stand-in gods don't just fail to fill your spirit up. They fail in this really specific way. They always want more. And they never say, that's enough. You chase the body, you hit the goal, and then within a week, you find the next flaw to fix. You chase these followers, and the number that once used to feel massive suddenly feels small. You chase money, and the salary that once sounded like freedom now quietly becomes a new floor instead of the finish line. None of it has a ceiling. There's no version of any of these things that will ever say, okay, now you've done enough. If you can't name what you worship, it doesn't mean you don't worship anything. It just means it's running the show without your permission. Something's already in the driver's seat. And a lot of us have never looked over to check exactly what that thing is. I'll be honest, I've been there with the whole success will fix how I feel about myself thing. I had hit a goal a couple years back that I was genuinely chasing for the longest time, and when I finally got there, I just felt kind of empty. Kind of like I had been promised something was on the other side of the finish line, and I finally got there and there was just nothing. And that was actually one of the more disorienting times of my life, because I didn't have a backup plan for what if finally obtaining this thing doesn't work. And honestly, I think that's the tell right there. Real worship, the kind that we're built for, it has an endpoint. These other things don't have that because they're not designed to carry the weight we try to put onto them. You're asking a job to hand you your identity. You're asking your body to hand you your worth. You're asking an algorithm to tell you that you matter. And it'll take the offering, no problem. It just never actually gives you back what you wanted. An idol will always take the sacrifice. It'll just never show up for you afterwards. So why does this even happen? Why can't we just be neutral about it? I think it's because we're not wired that way. I don't think worship is some religious extra bolted onto being human. I think it's close to the actual center of it. We were built to orient towards something bigger than us, to give ourselves to something, to be shaped by whatever it is we're devoted to. And that doesn't just switch off whenever someone loses their faith. It just goes looking for a new place to land. Kind of like a compass. It doesn't stop pointing just because you took the magnet away. It just starts pointing at whatever's close by and strong enough to pull it. And I bring this up not really to score a theological point, but because I think it actually explains a lot of the tiredness that so many of us are walking around with. See, you're not lazy, you're not uniquely broken. You're just worshiping something that was never meant to be worshipped. And it's wearing you down the way anything does when it carries more weight than it was meant for. So here's the actual thing I'd ask you to do. Not someday, I mean today. Maybe even right after this video. Look at your calendar. Look at your bank account. Look at what you were actually hoping to find the last time that you scrolled for 20 minutes without realizing it. Those 3 things will tell you more about what you actually worship than anything you'd say out loud if I asked you directly. See, we're all pretty polished when we're asked directly. Your calendar's not that polished. Your calendar's honest. Ask yourself plainly, what's getting my best energy? What do I feel like I need in order to feel okay? What would actually wreck me if I lost it? And I'm not asking that as some kind of clever rhetorical setup. I'm asking it literally. I think most of us, if we actually sat with it instead of skimming by it the way I've definitely done, would find something interesting in that answer that's a little uncomfortable. By the way, I'm not saying that to make you feel guilty. Feeling guilty doesn't really fix anything. If anything, it just makes you hide it better. I'm saying it because you can't redirect something that you won't even admit is there. So back to this morning. That reach for the phone before your feet even hit the floor. I don't think the answer is throwing your phone in the nearest lake or quitting the gym or quitting your career. I don't really think this was ever about those specific things. I think it's about noticing that the instinct to worship never actually left. It just went and found something to attach to while no one was paying attention. And it's gonna keep attaching itself to whatever's closest and loudest until you decide on purpose what deserves that kind of devotion. We didn't stop worshiping. We just changed what we worship. And maybe that's the real question. Not whether you worship something, because you already do. The question is whether the thing you give your life to can actually carry the weight of it.